The Love Letters of Mary Wollstonecraft, Part 2, Letters 18 to 27. In the first part, we witnessed the hope of a love just beginning. Now, the journey continues as distance and uncertainty begin to test the heart. You may occasionally hear an unfinished name, or only a title, such as Mr. or Doctor. Those omissions are part of the surviving historical text, where certain names were removed by later editors. They have been preserved exactly as they appear in the original publication. Every uncertainty, every heartbreak, remains exactly as she left it more than 2 centuries ago. Welcome to She Reads Tales, and now, her love letters. Letter 18, Thursday morning, Havre, March 12th, 1794. We are such creatures of habit, my love, that, though I cannot say I was sorry, childishly so, for your going, when I knew that you were to stay such a short time and I had a plan of employment, yet I could not sleep. I turned to your side of the bed and tried to make the most of the comfort of the pillow, which you used to tell me I was churlish about. But all would not do. I took, nevertheless, my walk before breakfast, though the weather was not very inviting. And here I am, wishing you a finer day, and seeing you peep over my shoulder as I write, with one of your kindest looks, when your eyes glisten and a suffusion creeps over your relaxing features. But I do not mean to dally with you this morning. So God bless you. Take care of yourself, and sometimes fold to your heart your affectionate Mary. Letter 19. Havre, March, 1794. Do not call me stupid for leaving on the table the little bit of paper I was to enclose. This comes of being in love at the fag end of a letter of business. You know, you say, they will not chime together. I had got you by the fireside, with the gigot smoking on the board, to lard your poor bare ribs, and behold, I closed my letter without taking the paper up, that was directly under my eyes. What had I got in them to render me so blind? I give you leave to answer the question if you will not scold, for I am yours most affectionately, Mary. Letter 20. Havre, Sunday, August 17th, 1794. I have promised to go with him to his country house, where he is now permitted to dine. I and the little darling, to be sure, whom I cannot help kissing with more fondness since you left us. I think I shall enjoy the fine prospect, and that it will rather enliven than satiate my imagination. I have called on Mrs. She has the manners of a gentlewoman with a dash of the easy French coquetry which renders her piquante. But Monsieur, her husband, whom nature never dreamed of casting in either the mold of a gentleman or lover, makes but an awkward figure in the foreground of the picture. The are very ugly, without doubt, and the house smelt of commerce from top to toe, so that his abortive attempt to display taste only proved it to be one of the things not to be bought with gold. I was in a room a moment alone, and my attention was attracted by the pendule. A nymph was offering up her vows before a smoking altar to a fat-bottomed Cupid, who was kicking his heels in the air. Ah, kick on, thought I, for the demon of traffic will ever fright away the loves and graces that streak with the rosy beams of infant fancy the somber day of life. Whilst the imagination, not allowing us to see things as they are, enables us to catch a hasty draught of the running stream of delight, the thirst for which seems to be given only to tantalize us. But I am philosophizing, nay, perhaps you will call me severe, and bid me let the square-headed money-getters alone. peace to them, though none of the social sprites. And there are not a few of different descriptions who sport about the various inlets to my heart, gave me a twitch to restrain my pen. I have been writing on, expecting pour to come, for when I began, I merely thought of business. And as this is the idea that most naturally associates with your image, I wonder I stumbled on any other. Yet, as common life, in my opinion, is scarcely worth having, even with a gigot every day, and a pudding added thereunto, I will allow you to cultivate my judgment, if you will permit me to keep alive the sentiments in your heart which may be termed romantic. Because, the offspring of the senses and the imagination, they resemble the mother more than the father when they produce the suffusion I admire. In spite of icy age, I hope still to see it, if you have not determined only to eat and drink, and be stupidly useful to the stupid. Yours, Mary. Letter 21. Havre, August 19th, 1794. Tuesday. I received both your letters today. I had reckoned on hearing from you yesterday, therefore was disappointed, though I imputed your silence to the right cause. I intended answering your kind letter immediately, that you might have felt the pleasure it gave me, but came in and some other things interrupted me, so that the fine vapor has evaporated. Yet, leaving a sweet scent behind, I have only to tell you what is sufficiently obvious, that the earnest desire I have shown to keep my place, or gain more ground in your heart, is a sure proof how necessary your affection is to my happiness. Still, I do not think it false delicacy or foolish pride to wish that your attention to my happiness should arise as much from love, which is always rather a selfish passion as reason. That is, I want you to promote my felicity by seeking your own. For, whatever pleasure it may give me to discover your generosity of soul, I would not be dependent for your affection on the very quality I most admire. No, there are qualities in your heart which demand my affection. But, unless the attachment appears to me clearly mutual, I shall labor only to esteem your character, instead of cherishing a tenderness for your person. I write in a hurry because the little one, who has been sleeping a long time, begins to call for me. Poor thing, when I am sad, I lament that all my affections grow on me, till they become too strong for my peace, though they all afford me snatches of exquisite enjoyment. This, for our little girl, was at first very reasonable, more the effect of reason, a sense of duty, than feeling. Now, she has got into my heart and imagination, and when I walk out without her, her little figure is ever dancing before me. You, too, have somehow clung round my heart. I found I could not eat my dinner in the great room, and when I took up the large knife to carve for myself, tears rushed into my eyes. Do not, however, suppose that I am melancholy, for, when you are from me, I not only wonder how I can find fault with you, but how I can doubt your affection. I will not mix any comments on the enclosed. It roused my indignation, with the effusion of tenderness with which I assure you that you are the friend of my bosom and the prop of my heart. Mary. Letter 22. Havre, August 20th, 1794. I want to know what steps you have taken respecting. Knavery always rouses my indignation. I should be gratified to hear that the law had chastised, severely. But I do not wish you to see him, because the business does not now admit of peaceful discussion, and I do not exactly know how you would express your contempt. Pray ask some questions about Tallien. I am still pleased with the dignity of his conduct. The other day, in the cause of humanity, he made use of a degree of address which I admire, and mean to point out to you, as one of the few instances of address which do credit to the abilities of the man, without taking away from that confidence in his openness of heart, which is the true basis of both public and private friendship. Do not suppose that I mean to allude to a little reserve of temper in you, of which I have sometimes complained. You have been used to a cunning woman, and you almost look for cunning. Nay, in managing my happiness, you now and then wounded my sensibility, concealing yourself, till honest sympathy, giving you to me without disguise, lets me look into a heart, which my half-broken one wishes to creep into, to be revived and cherished. You have frankness of heart, but not often exactly that overflowing, which, becoming almost childish, appears a weakness only to the weak. But I have left poor Talion. I wanted you to inquire likewise whether, as a member declared in the convention, Robespierre really maintained a number of mistresses. Should it prove so, I suspect that they rather flattered his vanity than his senses. Here is a chatting, desultory epistle. But do not suppose that I mean to close it without mentioning the little damsel, who has been almost springing out of my arm. She certainly looks very like you, but I do not love her the less for that, whether I am angry or pleased with you. Yours affectionately, Mary. Letter 23. Paris, September 22nd, 1794. I have just written 2 letters that are going by other conveyances, and which I reckon on your receiving long before this. I therefore merely write, because I know I should be disappointed at seeing anyone who had left you, if you did not send a letter, were it ever so short, to tell me why you did not write a longer. And you will want to be told, over and over again, that our little Hercules is quite recovered. Besides looking at me, there are 3 other things which delight her: to ride in a coach, to look at a scarlet waistcoat, and hear loud music. Yesterday, at the fête, she enjoyed the 2 latter. But, to honor Jean-Jacques Rousseau, I intend to give her a sash, the first she has ever had round her. And why not? For I have always been half in love with him. Well, this you will say is trifling. Shall I talk about alum or soap? There is nothing picturesque in your present pursuits. My imagination, then, rather chooses to ramble back to the barrier with you, or to see you coming to meet me and my basket of grapes. With what pleasure do I recollect your looks and words when I have been sitting on the window regarding the waving corn. Believe me, sage sir, you have not sufficient respect for the imagination. I could prove to you in a trice that it is the mother of sentiment, the great distinction of our nature, the only purifier of the passions. Animals have a portion of reason, and equal, if not more exquisite, senses. But no trace of imagination, or her offspring taste, appears in any of their actions. The impulse of the senses, passions, if you will, and the conclusions of reason draw men together. But the imagination is the true fire, stolen from heaven, to animate this cold creature of clay, producing all those fine sympathies that lead to rapture, rendering men social by expanding their hearts, instead of leaving them leisure to calculate how many comforts society affords. If you call these observations romantic, a phrase in this place which would be tantamount to nonsensical, I shall be apt to retort that you are imbruted by trade and the vulgar enjoyments of life. Bring me then back your barrier face, or you shall have nothing to say to my barrier girl, and I shall fly from you to cherish the remembrances that will ever be dear to me. For I am yours truly, Mary. Letter 24. Paris, evening, September 23rd, 1794. I have been playing and laughing with the little girl so long that I cannot take up my pen to address you without emotion. Pressing her to my bosom, she looked so like you, Antoine, your best looks. For I do not admire your commercial face. Every nerve seemed to vibrate to the touch, and I began to think that there was something in the assertion of man and wife being one. For you seemed to pervade my whole frame, quickening the beat of my heart and lending me the sympathetic tears you excited. Have I anything more to say to you? No, not for the present. The rest is all flown away. And, indulging tenderness for you, I cannot now complain of some people here, who have ruffled my temper for 2 or 3 days past. Paris, 1794, morning. Yesterday, B sent to me for my packet of letters. He called on me before, and I like him better than I did. That is, I have the same opinion of his understanding, but I think with you, he has more tenderness and real delicacy of feeling with respect to women than are commonly to be met with. His manner, too, of speaking of his little girl, about the age of mine, interested me. I gave him a letter for my sister and requested him to see her. I have been interrupted, Mr. I suppose we'll write about business. Public affairs I do not descant on, except to tell you that they write now with great freedom and truth. And this liberty of the press will overthrow the Jacobins, I plainly perceive. I hope you take care of your health. I have got a habit of restlessness at night, which arises, I believe, from activity of mind. For, when I am alone, that is, not near one to whom I can open my heart, I sink into reveries and trains of thinking which agitate and fatigue me. This is my third letter. When am I to hear from you? I need not tell you, I suppose, that I am now writing with somebody in the room with me, and is waiting to carry this to Mr. I will then kiss the girl for you and bid you adieu. I desired you, in one of my other letters, to bring back to me your barrier face, or that you should not be loved by my barrier girl. I know that you will love her more and more, for she is a little affectionate, intelligent creature, with as much vivacity, I should think, as you could wish for. I was going to tell you of 2 or 3 things which displease me here, but they are not of sufficient consequence to interrupt pleasing sensations. I have received a letter from Mr. I want you to bring with you. Madame S. is by me, reading a German translation of your letters. She desires me to give her love to you, on account of what you say of the Negroes. Yours most affectionately, Mary. Letter 25. Paris, September 28th, 1794. I have written to you 3 or 4 letters, but different causes have prevented my sending them by the persons who promised to take or forward them. The enclosed is one I wrote to go by B, yet finding that he will not arrive before I hope, and believe you will have set out on your return, I enclose it to you, and shall give it in charge to, as Mr. is detained, to whom I also gave a letter. I cannot help being anxious to hear from you, but I shall not harass you with accounts of inquietudes, or of cares that arise from peculiar circumstances. I have had so many little plagues here that I have almost lamented that I left Havre, who is at best a most helpless creature, is now, on account of her pregnancy, more trouble than use to me, so that I still continue to be almost a slave to the child. She indeed rewards me, for she is a sweet little creature. For, setting aside a mother's fondness, which, by the by, is growing on me, her little intelligent smiles sinking into my heart, she has an astonishing degree of sensibility and observation. The other day, by B, child, a fine one. She looked like a little sprite. She is all life and motion, and her eyes are not the eyes of a fool, I will swear. I slept at Saint Germain's, in the very room, if you have not forgot, in which you pressed me very tenderly to your heart. I did not forget to fold my darling to mine, with sensations that are almost too sacred to be alluded to. Adieu, my love. Take care of yourself, if you wish to be the protector of your child and the comfort of her mother. I have received for you letters from. I want to hear how that affair finishes, though I do not know whether I have most contempt for his folly or knavery. Your own, Mary. Letter 26. Paris, October 1st, 1794. It is a heartless task to write letters without knowing whether they will ever reach you. I have given two to who has been a going every day for a week past, and three others which were written in a low-spirited strain, a little querulous or so. I have not been able to forward by the opportunities that were mentioned to me. Tant mieux, you will say, and I will not say nay. For I should be sorry that the contents of a letter, when you are so far away, should damp the pleasure that the sight of it would afford, judging of your feelings by my own. I just now stumbled on one of the kind letters which you wrote during your last absence. You are, then, a dear, affectionate creature, and I will not plague you. The letter which you chance to receive when the absence is so long ought to bring only tears of tenderness, without any bitter alloy, into your eyes. After your return, I hope indeed that you will not be so immersed in business as during the last 3 or 4 months past. For even money, taking into the account all the future comforts it is to procure, may be gained at too dear a rate, if painful impressions are left on the mind. These impressions were much more lively soon after you went away than at present, for 1,000 tender recollections efface the melancholy traces they left on my mind, and every emotion is on the same side as my reason, which always was on yours. Separated, it would be almost impious to dwell on real or imaginary imperfections of character. I feel that I love you, and if I cannot be happy with you, I will seek it nowhere else. My little darling grows every day more dear to me, and she often has a kiss when we are alone together, which I give her for you with all my heart. I have been interrupted and must send off my letter. The liberty of the press will produce a great effect here. The cry of blood will not be vain. Some more monsters will perish, and the Jacobins are conquered. Yet I almost fear the last flap of the tail of the beast. I have had several trifling teasing inconveniences here, which I shall not now trouble you with a detail of. I am sending back. Her pregnancy rendered her useless. The girl I have got has more vivacity, which is better for the child. I long to hear from you. Bring a copy of, and, with you, is still here. He is a lost man. He really loves his wife and is anxious about his children, but his indiscriminate hospitality and social feelings have given him an inveterate habit of drinking that destroys his health as well as renders his person disgusting. If his wife had more sense or delicacy, she might restrain him. As it is, nothing will save him. Yours most truly and affectionately, Mary. Letter 27. Paris, October 26th, 1794. My dear love, I began to wish so earnestly to hear from you that the sight of your letters occasioned such pleasurable emotions, I was obliged to throw them aside till the little girl and I were alone together. And this said little girl, our darling, is become a most intelligent little creature, and as gay as a lark, and that in the morning, too, which I do not find quite so convenient. I once told you that the sensations before she was born and when she is sucking were pleasant, but they do not deserve to be compared to the emotions I feel when she stops to smile upon me or laughs outright on meeting me unexpectedly in the street or after a short absence. She has now the advantage of having two good nurses, and I am at present able to discharge my duty to her without being the slave of it. I have therefore employed and amused myself since I got rid of, and am making a progress in the language amongst other things. I have also made some new acquaintance. I have almost charmed a judge of the tribunal, R, who, though I should not have thought it possible, has humanity, if not beaucoup d'esprit. But let me tell you, if you do not make haste back, I shall be half in love with the author of the Marseillaise, who is a handsome man, a little too broad-faced or so, and plays sweetly on the violin. What do you say to this threat? Why, entre nous, I like to give way to a sprightly vein when writing to you. That is, when I am pleased with you. The devil, you know, is proverbially said to be in a good humor when he is pleased. Will you not then be a good boy and come back quickly to play with your girls? But I shall not allow you to love the newcomer best. My heart longs for your return, my love, and only looks for and seeks happiness with you. Yet do not imagine that I childishly wish you to come back before you have arranged things in such a manner that it will not be necessary for you to leave us soon again, or to make exertions which injure your constitution. Yours most truly and tenderly, Mary. P.S. You would oblige me by delivering the enclosed to Mr. and pray call for an answer. It is for a person uncomfortably situated. Thank you for being here and sharing this journey with me. I'll see you in the next part, here on She Reads Tales.